Yes, she is the recipient of the Prescott Bush 2013 Award. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Senator John McKinney. Thank you. Thank you. Let me first say, I want to just give a little advice to my fellow elected officials from the legislature. I was out in the cocktail hour talking up the state of Connecticut with business leaders, and according to Governor Malloy, that now means People Magazine can pay for my ticket and my travel here. So if you were talking up the state of Connecticut, make sure you get reimbursed by People's Magazine as well. Friends and fellow Connecticut Republicans, thank you for this tremendous honor. I'm deeply humbled to receive the 2013 Prescott Bush Award, an award named after a true gentleman and leader, former U.S. Senator Prescott Bush Sr. I want to thank my good friend and colleague and former Prescott Bush Award winner, Scott France, for his introduction and kind words. I want to thank our chairman, Jerry Labriola, for his leadership and for organizing another sold-out Bush Award. Thank you, Jerry. I want to thank Governor Walker for being here and for sharing with the people of Connecticut a little good old Wisconsin common sense. We could sure use a lot of that around here, Governor. I'm especially grateful tonight to be honored with two outstanding Republicans in Lou DeCilio and my friend Pat Lodra. And I want to just take an opportunity, if I can, to say a few words about Pat. I've known Pat for a while and had the good fortune to represent her in the town of Newtown for 15 years. She's an extraordinary leader and role model for anyone in public service. On the morning of December 14th, Pat was the first person I ran into as I walked into the Sandy Hook firehouse soon after the shootings occurred. Despite knowing of the horrible tragedy that befell her people and her town, Pat was always calm and in control, and she led the efforts to comfort her community. She has demonstrated unparalleled strength and compassion from the very first moment and every moment since. I'm proud that she's my friend. She's not just Newtown's first selectman. As I say, she's become America's first selectman as well. Thank you for your leadership, Pat. Finally, I want to thank the most important people in my life, my family. I'm joined tonight by my mom, Lucy, two of my three sisters, my sister Jean and my sister Libby. My three kids, unfortunately, could not be here on a school night. I've got a son playing in a tournament, a daughter at soccer practice, and the other daughter studying at home, I hope. That's what she says. But nothing I have done or ever will do will be as important as raising those three children. And I'm so lucky to have three great kids who understand the time commitments of public service. And lastly, I want to thank the other most important person in my life, Kristen Fox. This is not part of the script, but she has made me realize that true love and happiness do exist, and I want to thank her for that. You know, I've been blessed with some great friends and role models in my lifetime, but no one has played a greater role than my mom and dad. My parents instilled in me the obligation for caring for others and giving back to your community. As the youngest of 5 kids, there was always a lot to see at our house. For most people, 5 kids would be enough, you would think, to keep you busy, but not my parents. Our house was always filled with our extended family members. There were many people who worked with my dad who became part of the McKinney family and remain so to this day. We had a 4th sister from the Philippines who lived with us for several years, and others who from time to time lived in a room in our basement or an apartment out by our garage simply because they needed a place to stay. I saw my parents extend a generosity and kindness to others, never asking any questions or seeking anything in return. They just helped those who needed it. My parents also taught me to respect and appreciate hard work, because anything is possible with hard work. While my father was in Washington, it was my mother who made sure that I worked hard at school and would accept nothing less than my best effort. How I did wasn't important as long as I tried my best. And when I was 15, my father told me I was getting a job as a dishwasher in the local restaurant. I made $3.17 an hour and worked there throughout high school. It wasn't about how much money I made or what I was doing. It was about teaching me to respect and appreciate hard work. And he was right. Both my parents also demonstrated always through their actions the importance of standing up and doing the right thing regardless of what others thought. Whether it was seeing my father as a freshman member of Congress oppose his president over funding for the Vietnam War, or watching my mom stand up to our hometown and fight and win for the rights of people with AIDS, they taught me the importance of standing up for others and doing what you believe is right. These are the lessons I carry with me every day and are the example I try to follow in my life, especially as a member of the Connecticut Senate. You know, there was a time when people like my father, and indeed many in this room, ran for public office with the hope of making our community, our state, and our nation a better place. Public service was a noble calling where men and women of goodwill worked together toward finding solutions to the problems of the day. For many, like my father, politics was just a means to an end, a way of public service, a way to give back and help your community and care for others. Today, too often, politics is the end. Partisanship has overtaken friendship. Working together to find common ground is now viewed by too many as a sign of weakness rather than a sign of strength. And sadly, compromise and consensus are overwhelmed by power and arrogance. Today, both here and in Washington, the arrogance of power has gotten in the way of helping others and making our state and nation a better place. Worse, it threatens core principles of our democracy. In Washington, the arrogance of power has fostered an environment where government, indeed the most powerful agency in government, the IRS, is used to intimidate and shut down people with opposing political beliefs. In Hartford, the same arrogance is displayed by a governor who believes he can rule by executive order and force unionization of home health care workers against their will. And a Democrat majority who fails to allow the Republican minority even into the room to negotiate a budget, thus alienating the over 1 million people we represent in the state of Connecticut. This arrogance of power is displayed by the leadership in Hartford, is fueled by the mistaken philosophy that government has all the answers and is the solution to all our problems. We know better, don't we? It is the reason why our government has grown well beyond our means in Connecticut and continues to grow even in the face of a terrible recession. Just look at the fate of Connecticut and another state we may hear about tonight, Wisconsin. Both faced multi-billion-dollar budget deficits, increasing unemployment, and high taxes. In Connecticut, Governor Malloy and the Democrats imposed on the people of the state of Connecticut the largest tax increase in state history to support a massive spending increase. Governor Malloy called it shared sacrifice. He said he would take us down a different road, and boy did he. Let's look at the road he took us down. A $2.5 billion deficit over the biennium, an unemployment rate that remains above the national average, the highest per capita debt in the nation, and a state whose rankings for economic competitiveness by national business leaders has gotten worse, not better. The opposite of what's happened in Wisconsin. Perhaps Governor Malloy should have heeded the words of Winston Churchill before enacting his massive tax increase. Churchill once said, "Taxing your way into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle." It doesn't work, and we know that. And even today, Governor Malloy and the Democrats continue to believe that we need more government and have proposed a budget that increases spending 10%. As Republicans, we know our problem is that we spend too much. Governor Malloy and the Democrats want to increase our borrowing by almost 30%, and worse, they want to borrow over $750 million just to cover a cash flow problem and for operating expenses. As Republicans, we know that Connecticut has the highest per capita debt in the country, and we can't borrow anymore. Our credit card is maxed out. Under Governor Malloy, our unemployment rate is going up and continues to exceed the national average. That's because Governor Malloy believes it's government's role. No, actually, he believes it's his role to pick winners and losers. Governor Malloy doles out hundreds of millions of dollars to multinational corporations and billionaires to get them to move from one town in Connecticut to another. My friends, that's your money. They don't need our hard-earned tax dollars. They need us to get our fiscal house in order. And as Republicans, we know government shouldn't pick winners and losers. Government should get out of the way and let the private sector work. We know that the real job growth in Connecticut is that small businessman or businesswoman who wants government to spend less, tax less, and regulate less. In short, get out of the way and let us create jobs. My friends, this is our third Bush dinner since Governor Malloy was elected. And things have gotten worse, not better. As Republicans in the legislature, in the Senate, in the House, and I'm proud to stand and work with a great Republican leader in Larry Cafaro, we will continue to challenge Governor Malloy and the Democrats every step of the way. But let me say this. Unless we come together as a party and unite behind our shared values of smaller government, less spending and taxes, and respect for the free market, in order to bring Republican majorities to Hartford and take back the governorship, we will continue to let the Democrats take us down the wrong road, and I am determined not to let that happen. Thank you very much, and God bless the state of Connecticut.
Thank you, Senator McKinney, for your leadership. I'd just like to